Hi guys, and welcome to part 3 of the HMS Victory tutorial, the first rate ship of the line. So this is going to cover the sails. Sorry it's taken so long to get this video out. I've just been really busy around the channel trying to set up for the really big, absolutely huge tutorials I've got coming up on Saturdays that are taking me well over a week to do, so I've got to try and do those as fast as possible and do bits of them every single day. But let's get started. This is going to be less of kind of a direct tutorial. It's going to be more of a kind of how to do certain things. I'm not amazing at sails. This is probably my first real attempt at doing any sort of sails on this scale. Usually my ships are really small, sailing ship wise. So I'll kind of show you kind of like the ideas that I've got on here to try and make it look a bit more 3D and things like that. And I'll build it onto this one here. So this is what we had before. Really simple, just all the sails kind of tied up. And then we've got this one here. So it does make a difference to the ship itself. It makes it a bit more full. So let's get kind of started on this. So I'm just going to pick one of these. All of these sails here I basically did in a really similar pattern. I'm going to try and find one you can actually see. All of them kind of joined into these, unfortunately. They're all in a very similar pattern, so I'll just show you how to do one of them, and then you can basically copy the pattern onto all of them. So I'll just pick this one here. So all I did is take off this bottom layer that you've got on the sails already if you've done the tutorial. And you're just going to come out by one block on this part here. Like, you're going to just basically extend the sails by one. So this, then come out and then come down. What you're going to do is this is going to come around as well. And what I did is I just brought it down until I got to, so it's one higher than this, so it's up here. So basically just brought it down in this kind of pattern. So I've got one sticking out, I've got one here, and this just goes down straight and comes out. Then that's these two are on the same level, and this one sticks out, and I just kept those free, just like that. So I'll show you how to do it on the other side as well. Just this kind of idea of doing it. There's loads of different ways you can do sails. It's absolutely nuts. So I've got this. I've done it again. I've gone over by one. Damn it. There we go. Right. Just add on two on these. Just one on that. So once you got that kind of framework, all I did is just outline this like this. Joining these ones together. I didn't join the bottom layer like this together. I just left it as if it's kind of been tied down a bit. Change it to day. So I kind of got this framework, just placed a block on each of these, and then came out again, just filling up all of these parts. Just like this. So that's kind of what I did on all of the sails. I just brought them down to the top of these parts, just on top, and kind of made them look like they're kind of tied down. And the bigger ones, where I kind of did the circular part, all I did is I cut out. Oh no, on that one it's exactly the same. On this really big one here, I just cut out an extra two. So before we put in an extra block here, I just put in an extra couple here. And it's the same kind of pattern. I just brought it down to any kind of level. With the bottom ones, of course, I just brought the last kind of bit all the way across. This small one was a bit of a nightmare because it is really small in between these bits here. So I tried to do a similar thing to this, but it's pretty difficult really. So hopefully you guys can kind of get an idea. For those are just all those 9 sails that you got in total. I basically did the same pattern, the same idea on all of them, just coming out just like this. So I'll give you just a quick view of those, just like that. So that's one way that you can kind of do it. There's loads of others. I'm sure you guys can come up with better ways of doing it. This back one I couldn't get to look right no matter what I did. I think I probably need to extend this part here. I need to extend that by a couple of blocks maybe, and then extend this. I'm not too sure. But I'll show you guys kind of how I went about trying to make this kind of mess at the back. I just cut off these again. So the starting point, I just added in a couple more blocks. Kind of join them together and makes it look a bit more fluid. Then came out and just joined these up together. I just covered up a couple of the blocks, just kind of randomly, to be honest. That seems to work the best. It's just to kind of not really go with anything in particular. So I might add an extra block there, for example, and then build this. This is going to be the one that goes out the furthest, so I'm just going to kind of go around like this. And the best thing to do is really just keep on looking at it and just keep on adding bits. So I might do this and come around. Sometimes it does turn out really, really badly and it looks absolutely hideous, but others it does look really good. So I kind of tried to tie that into the back here, so I just need to do underneath now. And because you've got all the rigging and everything as well, all the fences, you can try and tie it into those as much as possible. Right. I'm just trying to get good angles on this and making it look like it's working. So maybe something like this, and I just need to come onto this side, come in. So it's quite difficult, this part, just to try and make it look right, but this part will kind of will be your own as well, which is always good. For your own touches, it's pretty difficult to teach how to do like sails, unless I do it like block by block, but even that will be quite difficult. So there we go, so I'm almost done on this back one now. I'm just going to come across the bottom part here by a couple of blocks like this. So that's kind of one way of doing that back part, and you can see that it's completely different to my other one. So this one's a bit more square on these bottom parts and it joins all the way in, whereas this one I've kind of gone for this like sloped thing, so it's only tied in at the bottom. So that's just another idea for the way that I actually do those kind of sails. I'll show you what I did for one of these kind of bits that joins along the two masts. So I just took off all these blocks here, added one in underneath each of them so they're all connected. I think I added an extra block here and connected those as well, just to make it a bit thicker, then came out now and did exactly the same thing. And what you want to do with sails as well is don't try to be too uniform. So I've already done two kind of bits that are exactly the same but just brought forwards. What I'll then do is come in and maybe break it up a bit, probably on the bottom part. Just add on an extra couple of blocks like this, and then when I come out, it changes the entire shape of it changes the shape of everything. That's what I'm trying to say. So that you actually get different kind of shapes and folds like this. So you get this kind of different thing. So what I might want to do now is, instead of just kind of leaving it going all the way out, a nice trick like I did on this is actually bending it back in just a little bit. So you've got the sail coming out here. Then what I might do is I might just come out on this side and bend it in just a little bit like this. Have a look at it. So then that just gives it a little bit more definition, so you can join a couple of these together if you wanted to, like this. And there we go. So that's kind of what I did with all of these ones. All I did is just use the blocks that we got as a base and then came down. The bigger ones as well, these big ones going across, it's exactly the same. So you can see these ones are quite bunched together. And the big ones, all I did is exactly the same kind of thing. I went out possibly by 3, by 3 on most of these. This one I don't go back in because there wasn't much room, but come out by 3 and then come back again. So that's one way of doing it. These ones again, these ones were pretty uniform actually. All I tried to do is just come out, then try to tie them in. I didn't want to cover up the fences themselves, but they are connected into these back fences here. Just on a couple of parts of them. I'll show you guys kind of how to, an idea of doing these. I wasn't really happy with these front two at all. They're kind of a bit difficult, so I'm going to just basically keep on recording and try and come up with something. I'll talk to you guys about a couple of the ideas I might be coming up with. So I'm just going to take off these bottom layer. I usually just take off the bottom layer because I don't want it to be too uniform. This gives me a bit more room, so I might just add one block on each side again, as I did with the masts. And then I'm going to try, I might try and do like a mini version of what I did before and see how that works out. Just like this, come in, Run in again. See if this kind of works. Let's have a look. Okay. So it's quite a strange thing doing sales because they do have to try and fit to what you've got. So I'm not really happy with this one at all. So that's kind of a really horrible way of doing it. So I don't advise doing it this way. So it is kind of just mix and match with what you do with these. You know, you just have to keep on trying to fold them in and get them to look right. So now I've just taken off a bit of layer. It looks a little bit better. I might take it down even more. Just by one more. This. Like that. Maybe that looks a bit better. I'm not too sure about this part, so I'll take this part out. Maybe that looks better. I think that might look better than this, maybe. This one looks just really round and fluffy and doesn't look very sail-like. Whereas maybe that's better. Yeah, so you can do the same thing on those ones. Hopefully this is just giving you a couple of ideas kind of for the sails. It's a really difficult thing to teach them. If people do want me to do exactly what I've done here, which is kind of an okay attempt at sails, then I can do it block by block. But it will take me a while to get block by block kind of tutorials done, just because I have to set it out in a certain way, and it takes it's mainly the setup time actually is quite long. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of part 3 of a couple of ideas on how to get sails done, how to do them, and how to make them really your own, because the way that I do it is just literally by randomly placing out blocks and going forwards and like in and out, basically forwards and backwards. So hopefully it's given you a couple of ideas. If you did like this kind of, not really a tutorial, but an idea part 3 of the Victory, make sure you comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.